So welcome, nice to meet you. So I am from Microsoft, but the main point is that I am French. So my accent will be French. I don't know if you like the French accent. Sometimes it will be a bit difficult to understand me, so I'll try to speak slowly. I'm working with the Microsoft Edge team, working in Microsoft Corp. And I'm still based in Paris, so I've got the best of both worlds. I can have the French social system to protect me while working from the Corp system, so it's really great. And I'm working as a program manager, so I'm more or less, I used to be an evangelist, so I don't know if you know what it means, so trying to push the standards, the HTML5 standards, and also what we were doing in our browser, of course. So today I'd like to explain you what we've done with Microsoft Edge to break from the past. And I think this is the perfect conference to explain you why, because it's really linked to standards and interoperability. So we're going to see that together. So first we're going to see why we decided to create a new engine and how we've been working with other vendors like Google, Mozilla, and Opera to try to understand some of the standards that were working fine or not and try to agree on how to implement them in our browser and some new features we have in our browser. So we decided to have a fork from the past, and you're going to understand easily why. So in IE, we used to have the web platform engine named Trident. I guess you all know it. I guess you all hate it, maybe. But at least you know it. While Chrome now got Blink, it used to be WebKit, and now Google decided to fork WebKit and create its own version named Blink, and Opera also is using Blink. Safari is using WebKit on iOS, on Macintosh, and finally, Mozilla and Firefox, they're using Gecko. So let's go back to Trident, our favorite version. It was a bit old, so it started in 1995, so you all look pretty young. And I'm looking young, but I'm very old because I was already using this stuff. But in 1995, we had that on the TV, so I don't know about you. So I don't know the Russian TV shows, so I'm sorry for... Maybe I should have updated my slide. But as a French guy, you know, we have got a lot of things coming from America, like this stuff. And Windows 1995, just to remember you that IE was quite old. But by i6 was probably the best browser, you know? I know it could be difficult to understand, but it was the best browser. And we decided to implement two versions of the engine, the strict mode and the quirks mode. Because TSS2 was coming, we decided to update the engine to be standard. And we needed to switch in the code branch between the old version and the new version. And so there was two available code paths in our engine. To switch between both engines, we were using the doc type tag in the HTML. And then we had IE7, 8, 9, etc. And we ended up having this awful thing in our browser, 8 different versions of the engine to maintain. And for you, it was a nightmare. And for us, it was a nightmare also, because you have to test between the different versions of the engine. And it was a nightmare for us to maintain and to improve the quality of our browser. So in the meantime, the competitors were having the always up-to-date browser, like Firefox or Chrome. So they were frequently updating their browser and their engine, and for you it was quite okay. But us, we have IE5, Quirks mode, the 7 mode, the 8 mode, the 9 mode, the 10 mode, the Enterprise mode, and finally the 11 mode. Okay? So it wasn't a good plan. So we decided to change that and to remove all this to have a new version. It was Edge, and to play the same game and to have a single document model and to update it frequently using standards. Just to say you that we are not the only one to have this problem. If you look to the mobile space, Chromium also have more or less the same problem with different versions of WebKit or Chrome on the different Android versions. So when people say that, I've got WebKit, well, which version of WebKit do you have on your mobile? So you still have the same kind of problem probably when you want to user test the agent, so don't do that. So Microsoft EdgeHTML is the new name of the rendering engine, so it's not Trident anymore, and it will be evergreen, meaning it will be always updated. It will be the same browser on the desktop, on the tablets, you see, and also on the mobile. So which approach we decided to have? We all know this kind of problem, okay? I don't know what happened, but it works fine on Firefox and Safari Opera and Chrome, and these little things doesn't seem to work well, okay? So why? So our dream that we want a web that will work for everyone. Users, developers, businessmen, we don't care. We just want to have a web that's working everywhere. So the web today is available on a variety of devices. So like iPad, Windows PCs, Android devices, phones, tablets. So the dream to write once and to run it everywhere is almost there. But to create a browser is not that easy. When you read the specification of HTML5, it's something very, very easy to read. And sometimes there are some parts that's not that clear for the browsers, vendors. So we need to discuss together. On the desktop side, most of you already know that if you're using, let's say, IE11 or IE10 and a modern browser like Chrome or Firefox, most of the time your code, your CSS will run the same way. It's not that difficult to have a website running everywhere. So on the desktop side, as long as you have IE11, it's fine. But what we're going to see on the mobile, we decided we were too strict in the past on some of the standards. And we had some problem with that. So we decided to look to the specification and to discuss with our competitors and friends on the W3C to say, okay, maybe we should define together that if you decided in, let's say, in Firefox and Chrome to implement the standard like that, and every developer expects the standard to work like that, we should redefine the standard to really stick between the specification and the behavior in the browser. So we start discussing with Google, for instance, on the way they were implementing some of the standards in Chrome. And before doing that, we had this kind of problem. You have a website running on Safari, and apparently perfectly running fine on Safari on iPhones. On your left, you've got Firefox OS, that's running the same site. And you see you already have some problem on the viewport. And you got Windows Phone 8 using IE 11 or 10 on the right, and even bad problem on that. So why did we have this kind of problem? Because simply, this website was serving the mobile version of the website based on the user agent. So it was saying, if it is Safari on, let's say, iPhone, I will give it to the mobile version of the website, otherwise please take the desktop version. So having the desktop version on the mobile is not cool because you got to zoom and it's not really nice. We had the same kind of problem like to have that. So to fix that, it was quite easy. There was before the website 4.com on a Windows mobile, and just after changing the user agent string, we obtained the new version of the website in the perfect way. So we're just saying to the web server, we are not IE, we are not a Windows mobile, we are an iPhone. Just saying that. So we are lying in a way, if you want to. But just doing that, the web server will provide us the best content and it will run fine. So it wasn't a problem of IE not having the proper standard. It was a problem with the web server providing us the wrong version of the website. So and we're going to talk about the user agent together. Because most of the people say, okay, now Microsoft is putting a lot of mess in the user agent string. So let's have a bit of history. And let's have a look to what people are doing. I don't know if you remember Mozilla. Mozilla comes from Netscape with Gecko. So it's quite old. I don't know who has been using Netscape, Mosaic. Yes, we are a couple of being old here. Okay. And this is about that time. And then when Firefox decided to create, well, Mozilla decided to create Firefox, they took the same user agents. Then Microsoft came and created IE, so took Mozilla and put some of the own stuff. So today it's Edge, but it was IE. But when Safari came, they decided also to copy-paste part of the user agent string and to take the like gecko. So they're trying to mimic the user agent string like Firefox. And when Chrome came, they said, OK, I want to copy Firefox and Safari to be sure that I will have the proper content. And for us, we would like to copy everybody. We don't care. We are good. Yes, please provide us your content. We will take care of it. OK? So this is a mess. So just to remember for good memories. You know this kind of code? This is horrible. We shouldn't do that anymore, okay? Because most of the time you will probably have a bug or you will do a mistake. So please don't do US sniffing, or at least please try to avoid doing that as much as possible. There are still some cases where you need it to fix a bug. You cannot have a CSS hack or a JavaScript hack to fix it. You cannot, if feature detection doesn't work, then maybe you will need to do it. But most of the time, you can have a solution without doing that. So for instance, what we've been doing also to fix this kind of problem is we have this website on IE11 on Windows 8.1, and we have this kind of problem with the sub-menus. This was because the website were using WebKit prefixes for transitions. And probably this was one of the first sites to use it because they thought that, well, Chrome got it and Safari got it, it's cool, I want to have transition of a website. The problem is that they didn't update the website to use the final version of the specification, neither the most version, the -o version. So you cannot say to every website developer, please update your code to use the final version. They should do it to support the standards. But what we decided to do is to alias some of the WebKit's CSS features to the final version. So we are reading WebKit in our engine now, and the idea is just by doing that, we are fixing a lot of websites in our browser. So to avoid doing that, the new behavior and best practices is to simply enable or disable some of the features directly in the browser. In the past, we thought at the W3C it was a good idea to enable some of the draft specification using some dash and prefixes, like -WebKit, -MS, stuff like that. But we had a lot of problem in production. So today, most of the people like Chrome, Mozilla, Opera are doing that. You can enable or disable some of the features in the browser. So today, if you're typing about flags in Edge, you can enable or disable some draft features in our browser. We've been removing a lot of code from IE, like VML, that was something like SVG, but competitors, like VBScript, whoa, remove it, and current style, some the quirks of the layout, some prefixes, events, conditional comments, and everything has been removed. So we ended up removing 220,000 lines of code from IE because nobody needed it anymore. And thanks to that, we've been able to have 300,000 lines of code to support new features and new cool things in our browser. So let's talk about the new features, and I've got a couple of demonstrations. The fact that we only have one engine now to maintain and to improve helped us to put a lot of new features. Because in the past, we were spending our time maintaining the 8th version, of IE. It was a nightmare. So today, we only have one engine to maintain, so we have better performance, and also we have more available time to implement features. So there is a lot of stuff in Edge. We have the best support for ECMAScript 6, for instance. That's now named ECMAScript 2015. And so you can have a look to our website. So we've got a lot of cool things. So believe me or not, just test it. And you can go on status.modern.ai if you think that, okay, I'm interested in, I don't know, well, about asm.js, because I want to build a game on the web. So you can type for these features and check if we are currently implementing them, if we're currently developing it, or if we don't have any plan to support it. And if we don't have any plan to support it, you can vote for the features. You can influence in the way the priorities on the product group of what we should focus on. And it already worked, because some of the features had some higher priority thanks to the community, because people were saying to us, we really need these specific features to work on the web. So you can go on status.modern.ai to check that. And we also say if the other browsers are supporting the features or not. So let's have a look to some cool features. And so this is some plug and play stuff. I'm not sure it's going to work, but it should work. Oh. And I need sound. I don't know if we have sound here. Yes, we've got sound. Perfect. So it's something that we've been doing in France with some of my colleagues. So it's using WebGL, it's using web-audio, so I can move into the scene, and can hear some frogs. So this is some 3D sound, thanks to web-audio. They're going to help you to put some sound in 3D in the scenes. And I have some interactive things, can click over there, so don't be afraid. Some people are really afraid by that. And what I can do is switch to the gamepad camera. I'm not sure it's going to, yes, it's going to work. And I can use my Xbox controller directly in the browser. This means that we've got the gamepad API, and you can have this kind of experience now moving into a 3D world. For instance, I can hear some piano sound over there, so I know that I can click here, and I've got a skeleton playing some piano, and I've got a sim tree over there. So let's have a look at the sim tree. So Hamlet is dead. We got Clippy. Who knows Clippy? You know those fish things. It's dead, unfortunately. We've got the Schrödinger cat. And nobody knows if the Schrödinger cat is dead or not, you know? So we decided that it's dead, finally. And the good things, it's i6, at least, it's dead. So if you click on it, here it's down, and we got the kind of Batman logos that helping us to solve the web problem in the world. So it's very cool because we've got great performance. This scene, for instance, runs 60 frames per second on an iPhone 6. This is amazing. So what you could do with WebGL today on mobile and PCs is really awesome. So, and this is not using asm.js. This is using some plain JavaScript we've been working on. So let's play with other things. Web-audio. So I've got a couple of demonstrations to show you, not to launch Unity. So I'm using Visual Studio because I'm an old Microsoft employee, but you can use whatever you like. And just to give you an idea what you could do with web-audio and touch. So this is, I'm composing some music also, so I decided to compose a music and to split the track of my music and in several tracks. So there is 6 cubes, so there is 6 tracks. So on each of the cubes, I've put a music. And when I'm going to move the cube inside the right circle, it's going to pump up the volume. So if I'm near the center of the circle, the volume will be very high, otherwise it will shut down. So for instance, if I'm moving this one, you can hear part of my music, and you can see, thanks to web audio, I can analyze the sound in real time. to have some special effect based on the sound. So you can do a lot of very cool things with web audio. And the idea was you can mix then the music using that. So let's say that I want to mix that. And as I've got several cubes, what it could be cool is to use your fingers because I've got a multi-touch screen, so I can mix using that. You see? And I've got a stupid joke because I am French, so I've got some stupid French jokes. Let's imagine I want to build the French version of my music. I can mix using that. So I'm using pointer event, so I don't know if you know about this specification. This is a great specification Microsoft has been working on and pushed on the W3C to support touch. So this is a unique way to address touch and mouse and also stylus or whatever. So the idea is that you don't have to have two specific code paths to address mouse and touch, like touch event, when you could have touch start, and mouse click, you need to have two different code. So this is very cool, but we are the only ones to support it today. Chrome is about to work on it. Firefox got it in some nice levels. So what we've been working on is on the polyfill to support pointer events on any browser. So we've been working on that with a friend of mine. And also jQuery is working on this stuff named PEP. But just to show you that the very same demonstration run inside Opera, for instance. So this is the same demo. And you see I can move the cube using the mouse. But I can also move the cube using touch. So multi-touch also is working inside Opera thanks to a polyfill we've been working on. So just to say you that today you can use pointer events in production by using whatever polyfill you like. So next demos, yes, it's about CSS-filters. So CSS-filter is really great. So I'm going first to show you about flags. You see currently this is being enabled over there. So I'm going to disable it and run the demos. CSS filter is really great, very simple to use. You see, just to have a filter property over there. Then you're going to tell which kind of effects you need to apply. And the good thing is it's being rendered on the GPU. This is not CPU-based, so it doesn't cost a lot of performance. This is hardware accelerated. So in a single CSS line, I can apply a blur effect on whatever element using CSS. So this is very cool. So most of the time, you only need the WebKit and the final specification because Mozilla is supporting this one and Edge is supporting this one, and Chrome and Safari are using the WebKit version. So doing just that, so if I'm running inside Edge, for instance, normally when my mouse will be inside the text area, I should have a blur effect. But you see that I've went into the about flags, and currently it's being disabled, so let's re-enable it. This means that if the browser is not supporting it, this doesn't break. You see now I've got the effects being enabled. What I could do also is to give you an idea of playing with the blur effect. And you see this is very fast because this is done by the GPU, and you don't have to do some weird thing to have that in production. So you could say that, OK, I don't really see the point of that. What I've been trying to do is to put that on our website. So for instance, I wanted to have a sepia effect on all the other tile when my mouse will focus on a specific element, and to have a slight blur effect also. So to do that, I've just been using CSS. You see, when my mouse is on a specific element, I've got the over CSS being used, saying that this element shouldn't have any filter being used, and the other one should have the filter. So when I'm moving my mouse now, I can see exactly which element I like to play with, and this is just being done by 2 lines of CSS. This is really impressive and really great. This is working fine in Chrome, and if I'm using that inside IE11, it doesn't break. The only thing I've got is I don't have any effects. So you can use that in production. You will have a better visual output on modern browser, but it won't break in older browser. So I like this one. So now you need to think about how to use it in a proper way. Next demo is about source set. So who knows source set or picture element? A couple of you. The difficult things with image on the web is to have responsive version of the image. Most of the time what we are doing is we are downloading many versions of the image, and on the client side, we try to test what is the screen resolution or DPI and provide the best version of the image. So the problem is sometimes you're downloading several times the same image, different resolution, which is not good for the bandwidth. The browser knows in which resolution is currently running. So it's better to ask to the browser to help you. So there is a new specification named source set, and there is a new element also named the picture element. Inside it, you can use like media queries if you like to. And in this kind of scenarios, what I'm going to ask to the browser is, I've got a default image, so it's not breaking on other browser, and I've got a set of different versions of the image based on, for instance, the DPI of my screen. And based on that, the browser will automatically choose for you the version of the image. So let me show you how it works. You see that I've got the default zoom level and default resolution. This is not a very high definition screen. I'm going just to launch the Health12 and the network tab, just to show you how it works. And to simulate the fact that I've got a better screen, I'm going to zoom. And it's going more or less to simulate the fact that I have a higher DPI screen. So let's zoom to a specific level. And you see the browser automatically decided to take a new version of the image because it thinks that now my screen's got a better DPI. And if I went on the network tab, I can see that it hasn't downloaded all versions of the image. It only downloads the best version of the image based on the resolution. And I can go higher than that, zooming. It hadn't taken the 4x version. So on this screen, you cannot really see the difference between the image. But let's imagine you've got a modern iPhone or Android devices with high DPI screen. It's really interesting to ask to the browser to take the best experience for you. And this is done automatically by the specification. You don't have to test it. Of course, you can mix that with any specification, Flexbox, whatever. So this is what I've been doing here. So you see I'm using Flexbox. So I've got a responsive version of the site. And what I can combine that is with the zoom-in level. And you see it took the new version of the image. So you can mix this specification together without any problem. OK, let's talk about ECMAScript 6 now. Who knows ECMAScript 6? Who is a C++, C# Java developer? Yes? People coming from this language tends to really like the class keyword, you know? Because to have some good pattern in JavaScript, you need to have the module patterns. And the Java and C# developers, C++ hate that because they don't understand what's going on there. So it's based on the prototype. Well, the prototype, oh my God. And the problem is that the this is not this, you know? This is not the same this. So in order to help these people and also to have a consistent way of coding, ECMAScript 6 take the class keyword, the module keyword, you've got a constructor, stuff like that. TypeScript is being done by Microsoft to be a superset of ECMAScript 6 to add some types. So just doing that, and it's going to compile it in plain ECMAScript 5 JavaScript, OK? So you can use today TypeScript, and it's going to compile like you got with Babel or CoffeeScript or stuff like that. But just to show you that this is nearly some ECMAScript 6, I'm going to copy-paste the TypeScript code to create a new pen and to copy-paste it there. What I need to do is to remove everything linked to the class, to the type, I'm sorry. And you see now that the class keyword is being OK in Edge, as well as the constructors, and I can then say hello. It's going to run the ECMAScript 6 of my code directly in the browser. So today you cannot use that in production because not a lot of browsers are using it. But just to give you an idea that Firefox, Chrome, and Edge got a good level of ECMAScript 6, which means that by 1 or 2 years you will be able to use this kind of stuff in production. OK, I'm a bit late. I've got the last demos, which is a fun one, just to do some stupid things. I don't know if you know about SVG. SVG is really great for different versions, different reasons, because it's vector-based. You can couple that with ARIA for accessibility. So we were supporting directly in our HTML5 document being able to inject SVG. It was cool, but sometimes people want in the SVG part to have some HTML inserted. So to do that, you can now use a foreign object tag, so that's being supported by Edge, and to include some HTML with an iframe, for instance. And just before that, we were using CSS filters, so we're going to use SVG filter this time, which is another way to apply some filters. And let's start by opening that in Edge. Oops. It broke. Oof. This should be weird, but not like that.
It's okay. It's okay.
No, not working. So I'm not going to show you that. But the idea is you can mix now SVG inside HTML, and inside SVG you can put some HTML again and mix a lot of different effects. And it ended up by doing some stupid thing in the browser just to show you that the rendering engine of all the browser are now very, very strong, and you can do some awesome effects in the browser if you like to. So I will publish the code if you want to play with it. And I think this is just over. Just to tell you that we're really looking to new stuff like shadow DOMs, template elements, so we're currently working on everything linked to web components. So if you're interested in it, we start implementing some of the stuff and looking at what we should do. And thank you. Спасибо.
У нас есть время на вопросы. Если вы сами не готовы задавать по-английски, можете задать по-русски, я попробую перевести. По-французски, например, можно, да.
C'est très difficile de formuler mon question en français, so I'll speak English.
Okay.
And no one will understand French,
Yes.
I think. Don't you think that using all vendor prefixes in CSS is quite maybe a bad way, because some developers use WebKit prefix to target only WebKit browsers and Blink browsers, and make some hack which the Edge may not understand quite good.
Yes, and this is today the way we've been working is we are testing site on Chrome. We're testing on Edge and try to have a look to different behavior, and we try to stick on the Chrome rendering. And we are discussing with Google also to be sure that we are doing the same stuff. But you're right, the best thing to do is to educate web developers on not using any more WebKit prefixes. The problem is for website already in production. You know that some people, we don't have anymore the people maintaining the site, or we don't have anymore the source code or whatever, or the money to fix it. So when my mom is going on the internet, she doesn't care about web standards, to be honest. She just wants to buy a ticket for a train. And if the website was using WebKit, in her mind, it's the Microsoft fault if the website is not being displayed in Edge or IE or whatever. So this is why we decided to do this hack for the users. In the meantime, I can see some stickers over there where there is a WebKit, not a WebKit, but a prefix-free web. This should be the case now, because in the future what we will be doing is just enabling or disabling features in the about flags, which means that if you decide to put something in production that is in draft mode, if the user never activated, your website broke. So you won't do that. You just will try to play with some features and let people enable it or disable it. And when it will be in production and final version, it will work. So let's hope it will change in the future, because most of you are using Chrome, I know that, to develop your website, which is fine because it's a really good browser. But it should run also in Firefox, Opera, and IE and Edge. So please don't do any more too much prefixes.
I see. Thank you. There's many things to discuss, but that's enough for this question. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Еще?
Я буду по-русски, поэтому попрошу перевести. Когда во времена E6 мы в Microsoft видели как бы людей, которых хотели сделать веб лучше и захватить мир. Была сильная оппозиция, и Microsoft удалось победить в той войнушке. Сейчас непонятно, что происходит, все эти вот веб-стандарты, какие-то демки, какие-то свистелки-перделки, простите, эти вот видеоэффекты какие-то, которые мы видели в VRML в 90-х годах. Это аудио, которое поддерживалось в Internet Explorer 5.5 в 1999 году. О чем вообще сейчас? Какая позиция у Microsoft в плане браузера и веба? То есть вы сдались, что ли? Вы лузеры или я не понял? Что происходит?
Okay. You've been trying to conquer the world with IE6,
Yeah.
and you succeeded.
Yeah.
Currently, you're showing some silly demos, whistle blows, and different kind of things. And it's just funny. It's web standards. It's regular stuff. But what's the point? Are you trying to conquer the world again, or you're trying to support web standards, or?
So we've changed our mind.
What's your message or idea of the
Okay,
browser?
so we tried to conquer the world in 2000. Yes, you're right. I was an employee. And when IE6 got 90% of the market share, we decided that, okay, we won the war, so we don't need to invest anymore on that. And we start working on Silverlight, and to more or less to have our own version of that. Hopefully, thanks to Mozilla, this didn't work. And then there was Chrome and all this stuff. And we decided to change our mind, say, we need to work on web standards because we are not the leader anymore, but not because of that only. Because today, when you go on the internet, the main point is a browser. So to be able to work on that and to support any standard is really important for us, because we cannot let Google, for instance, being the leader, because this is also a commercial company, if you want to. So, and you already see some side effects of that. Some of the websites are only working fine in Chrome, and some of their services also only working fine in Chrome. And it really reminded me Microsoft when we had IE6. And the idea for us, by having our browser and supporting web standards, is to be also competitors and to have some innovation in the web, working closely with Google, Mozilla. And what we decided to do also is not anymore to have anything closed source as much as possible. For instance, we open source Chakra, which is a JavaScript engine of Edge. We try to put as much thing as we can in open source, also contributing to the standards. The touch thing I've shown you, we directly put that on the W3C, because we knew that there was some problem with the touch from Apple that has some, more or less, some, some patents. So really what we try to do is we have a brand new team, because in 2000, the web was completely different. Today, if you're not working fine with the other ecosystem, you cannot be alone in your own market, if you like to. You need to work with everybody. So, except Apple. Apple is being on the W3C, but it's very difficult to discuss with them about the standards. But except them, when you're discussing with Opera people and Mozilla people, we have some really good relationships on the engineering level. This is not the same thing for the marketing teams, because there is still some war, But on the engineering level, we try really to collaborate. So for instance, we oftenly discuss with the Google people from the Chrome team. They're coming to Seattle, we're discussing with them. They are explaining that they're currently focusing a lot of efforts on service worker, and mobile stuff. And maybe we don't agree on that, but the idea is that if you want a free web, we need to have at least 2 or 3, I would say 3 main browser vendors to avoid to have the same thing we had in i6. So this is part of the reason why we're investing so much effort on the web standards, is to have this kind of balanced world between Google, Mozilla, and Microsoft, and Opera, in a way. I don't know if it's clear enough.
Yeah, it's clear enough.
Почти, но сильной позиции какой-то все равно нет. То есть мы будем догонять как бы всех, выравнивать баланс и прочее. А откуда возьмутся инновации, если всегда будет баланс, всегда какое-то выравнивание?
Я предлагаю потом уже обсудить этот вопрос. Как бы у нас будет 20-минутный перерыв, можно поддержать как следует. Не будем отнимать время у следующего докладчика. Я приглашу его на сцену. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I'm available to discuss during the break.